How many of you have a fabric stash? Like most quilters, you might chuckle to yourself when asked this question, thinking of your stacks, boxes, or bins filled with fabric. If you find yourself buying more and more yardage and not dipping into your stash, since you're not certain how to incorporate your fabric reserve, Cindy Casiato's book and DVD, Stashed with Splash Quilts, comes to your rescue. You'll be inspired to pull fabrics from your stash and audition them to make one or more of the 15 quilts featured in this creative book. Combine your stash with a new splash fabric to easily create your one-of-a-kind patchwork masterpieces. Many of Cindy's quilts are sewn with her triangle magic method. The companion DVD showcases this technique as well as many others. Here's a mini lesson on mastering half-square triangles. These triangles are the background for the applique quilt, Whimsy's Butterflies. And Cindy, you've used some of your splash and some of your stash.
And some of my stash together. And we cut out 10-inch squares.
Well, first you'd cut, as you find in your book, a 10-inch strip.
Right.
Meet right sides together of your stash and your splash, and then cut the squares.
Right. And then you're going to draw your diagonal line from corner to corner.
Now this is a 10-inch square, and it will equal
a 9.5-inch finished square.
A 9.5-inch block and then a 9-inch finished block.
Correct.
So you're adding 1 inch, which is usually very odd.
Right. Normally you would add 7/8, but the big advantage is being able to cut an even number with your ruler. A lot easier.
So you're going to end up with an even size block because the seam allowance.
Right. We're going to sew a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and we're going to use our standard presser foot that comes with your machines.
Here's a close-up showing that most standard presser foots are 3/8 of an inch wide from the needle to the side of the foot, and then you stitch, sewing along the edge of the marked line on both sides. And that's what Cindy has done on this sample, stitched on both sides of the block. Then you can test it.
Test it. I like to open it up before I cut it and go ahead and measure it and see how I come out. And then if I need to make an adjustment, I can. But I've been very lucky with this. This has worked every time for me. And then I'm just going to cut this apart.
Absolutely. So you get two for the price of one.
2 for the price of 1. So it won't take you long, Nancy, to make all these half-square triangles in your quilt.
And then we've already pressed. Here's a pressed one where we press to the darker color. This is the square that's going to have the applique of the hearts, which will then become butterflies. Cindy's approach to quilting provides inspiration, time-saving tips, and 15 patterns to use your stash and create quilts with splash. It's an ideal book to help you create great quilt designs using your fabric stash. Stashed with Splash Quilts, along with the entire Create with Nancy series, is available nationwide at bookstores, craft supply stores, and online retailers.